Hi, welcome to the free virtual assistant training. Today we will be discussing all about the basics as a virtual assistant. And the first lesson in this module will be understanding what is a virtual assistant. As I have briefly mentioned in the welcome video, when we say a virtual assistant, most of the time people might think that a VA is only limited to general virtual assistant where we help with administrative tasks, or a VA might be someone who is operating on the phone, kind of similar in like the call center setup. But there is so much more into being a virtual assistant. There are a lot of things we have to understand before being a VA ourselves. So that's why the first lesson in this module is to properly understand what really is a virtual assistant. So yeah, before we even begin discussing the tools that we need to use and the strategies that we need to implement and all the technical aspects of being a virtual assistant, let's start understanding the basics in this industry first. The first module in this training will be all about the basics you need to learn as a VA. And let's go ahead and jump right in to understand what really is a virtual assistant. So, according to Indeed.com, a virtual assistant is a self employed independent contractor who provides administrative or technical services to a client while working remotely outside the client's place of business. They typically assist with tasks that take up considerable time for their client, such as scheduling meetings and appointments. Virtual assistants usually work from home but have access to the digital resources necessary to do their job. For example, they may be able to enter data into a client's database and add appointments on their digital calendars. Okay, so let's go ahead and understand more. Let's dissect the definition that we've just read. So over here on this highlighted sentence right here that says they typically assist with tasks that take up considerable time for their client, such as scheduling meetings and appointments. A virtual assistant is someone who provides a service or set of services for a company. Usually a company or a businessman or a coach or whoever might need a virtual assistant for their business. These employers will have a type of work that is an important or an integral part of their business that they have to do according to schedule. Doing these type of tasks might be easy for the client or for the business owner, but doing these will also take considerable or like a huge chunk of their time on a daily basis, for example. So instead of them like studying or doing some strategies for their marketing or for any other things that they have to do for their company, instead of them doing that, they now have to allot a chunk of their time to do these administrative tasks. So since these are repetitive tasks and these tasks are something that someone could do for them, for example, some administrative tasks like email management, calendar booking, or scheduling of appointments, and providing customer service, the role of a virtual assistant is to take over these repetitive tasks so that again, they can help in freeing up some of these valuable time for the business owners or whoever they may be helping. So these important but repetitive tasks are still being done by the VA because again, it's still an important part of the business process. But now the coach or the business owner will now have available time to do other important aspects for their company. So in this description, it's mostly talking about administrative tasks that they can outsource to a VA. But the truth is, being a general virtual assistant is, of course, one of the most popular types of being a virtual assistant. But there are other niches that you can choose to work into. So say, for example, you are mostly fond or you love creating graphics. So you like to make like social media posts or a book cover, or let's say you enjoy or you love creating like logos or branding kits for a company. So obviously you might be leaning towards graphic designing niche. So then you will be targeting companies or business owners or coaches who might be needing your graphic services. These people will need your services because not all of them knows how to do what you do, especially for those business owners or company who are startup or are just starting. Brand identity, which will include their logo and their branding kits, are important. So that's where you come in. So basically, you will be filling in and getting the work that these employers need, not only specific to general virtual assistants, but also to graphic designing, video editing, social media management, CRM or customer relationship management. And of course, there are also other companies who might be needing you to pick up the phone and process inbound or outbound calls. But for the entirety of our training, we will just be focusing on non voice skills. We will not train you to be a virtual assistant similar to a call center setup. We will only train you with skills from different niches, as I have mentioned in the welcome video, but not with operating phone calls. Okay, so for the next part over here, working remotely outside the client's place of business, the clients can be anyone around the world. But in my experience, the countries who outsource more to Filipinos here, of course, in the Philippines, are in the US, Australia, and New Zealand, and even in Canada. I have also known of clients from Middle East and in Asia. But these countries that I've mentioned, which are again in the US, Australia, New Zealand, and Canada, these are where most businessmen or coaches would reach out to Filipino virtual assistants to get help. Since you will be working remotely, you will be working at the comfort of your own home. And of course, you don't need to go to your employer's business location unless you are offered to do so. I'm saying that unless you're offered to do so because there have been some instances. If you have joined different Facebook groups, you will see that there are some virtual assistants that are offered to migrate to the country of where the company is so that these virtual assistants can work physically in the company's location. We will not be discussing about that for the entirety of our training, but I'm just telling you that it is possible and it has happened that a virtual assistant has been offered and sponsored by the company to move into the company's location so that the virtual assistant will no longer be a VA, but as an employee working physically for the company in their location. Until then, you will work at home and you will be able to take care of your family and enjoy the privileges of working at home. Next is that virtual assistants usually work from home but have access to the digital resources necessary to do their job. So VAs have access to the digital resources that they need to be effective at their job. This means that you as a VA will have access to the tools and the software that the client owns where you will have to do your work. Some of these tools may be a web-based team management system, the client relationship management tool or the CRM, their calendar, their graphic designing tools, or their social media accounts. If you are a social media manager, your clients will, of course, provide you with access to their social media accounts in order for you to manage their social media accounts. Moving on, a virtual assistant can be located in any parts of the world. As a matter of fact, we Filipinos are one of the majority of the VA population in the world. Especially during the pandemic, there had been a rise in the number of virtual assistants because there were a number of Filipinos that had to quit their job or that were unemployed because of the pandemic, right? So, of course, these Filipinos will have to find other means of employment, and a lot of them were able to find work online as a virtual assistant. So, yeah, Filipinos are one of the majority of the VA population in the world. And according to Time Doctor, the Philippines is a popular outsourcing destination due to its affordable rates and a lower cost of living than most Western countries. The population is very literate and highly proficient in English. Simply put, any one of us can become a VA, and you certainly can become one too. If you're here for the free virtual assistant training, of course, you are interested in becoming a VA yourself, and we would love to motivate you that you can, of course, become a virtual assistant. If you are wondering, like, I'm not really that good when it comes to technology, I'm not really good in speaking English, I'm not really good with a lot of things. That is why we have this free virtual assistant training for you, because we will train you with the basics so that you can assess yourself. Is this something that I can do? Anyways, within this module, in the next few lessons, we will talk more about the requirements of a virtual assistant. And to answer the earlier question, if you're not really that good in speaking English, as long as you are able to communicate yourself in speaking and writing English, then that's okay. A lot of clients actually don't mind if you have a thick accent, as long as you are understandable in talking and in your written English, then that's fine. That's no problem at all. So let's go ahead and talk about just, the summary that we have discussed within this lesson as a VA. A VA, or a virtual assistant, is someone working remotely for a client, a business, or a company, and is working on a set of tasks being outsourced by the said client. A VA works at the comfort of her home and offers a service or a set of services that she can do effectively and efficiently. I hope that this description has been clear and that you have more knowledge what being a virtual assistant is. If you think that this training is helpful for you to start your career as a virtual assistant, we have an official training program portal for free to guide you through the training. It will be a more organized portal which will include training documents and resources necessary. So check out the link in the description box below to sign up, or you can go to this link right here. It's www.taskdelegates.com/free-va-training. And let's get connected. We have our social media accounts at Task Delegates. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe to our YouTube channel at Task Delegates and comment down if you have any questions in the comment section below. You can also share this video to someone who you think would love to become a virtual assistant so we can reach them and they can get trained for them to start their VA journey also. That will be all for this lesson. Now that we have discussed the definition of what is a virtual assistant, we will now proceed to the second lesson of this module, which will be all about how does a VA work with a client. I'll see you in the next lesson. Bye!